What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. Thomas Paine wrote these words to inspire Americans to patriotism as they sought to achieve freedom from England's oppressive interference in their young colonies. Today, the enemy isn't redcoats or taxation without representation. It's political correctness, cultural relativism, and a culture of appeasement in the political class. Our tolerance as a pluralistic society, one that welcomes the involvement and legitimacy of everyone regardless of their religion or ethnicity, is being used against us to change that good nature. We're being told that tolerance is an infinite good, and so even terrible ideas should be tolerated. And if you don't agree with terrible ideas, like redefining marriage or Sharia law, then you are the worst kind of person, the kind that must not be tolerated by all the truly tolerant people. We're being told that multiculturalism is an infinite good. So any terrible idea or incompatible value system can be perfectly defended by shouting "racist" when someone disagrees or voices some concerns. Relativism is the belief that there is no such thing as right or wrong, and everything is subjective. Multiculturalism is just another type of relativism, where nothing is wrong if it's part of your culture. Immigration priorities, then, the careful selection of the most appropriate people to invite to join us based on cultural compatibility, are not responsible execution of a government's duty of care with our culture, but a racist filter that just hates Muslims. In this generation, we have obtained Australia too cheap, and we subsequently esteem it too lightly. We haven't had to fight in a world war. We have not had to throw off the chains of tyranny. We have not had to fight decades for the abolition of slavery, although we do still demand some living humans aren't worth equal dignity, treating unborn children like disposable property. We haven't had to fight for equal voting rights for women or Aborigines. Now we have to invent injustices, imaginary human rights violations. The rebels of the 60s and 70s are now the academics and elites, and instead of Vietnam and civil rights, they froth with confected rage against traditional marriage and the sanctity of life. The true counterculture rebels today are people who believe in absolute truth, the complementary and necessary differences of the only two genders, the 10 Commandments, freedoms of speech and religion, and ultimate personal responsibility regardless of the circumstances of your birth. We have obtained a society founded on Judeo-Christian values too cheap, and we ignore the global history that teaches no other foundation has yielded such stability, prosperity, and national blessing. So we must now pay the price. We must fight the culture wars being cunningly waged by the homosexual lobby, Marxists and Islamists, all allied against Western capitalist democracies like ours. They will use any and all means at their disposal to silence us, to end debate, to intimidate us from entering the fray. But like all bullies, their bravado masks a true cowardice. They fear truth. They fear facts, logic, and reason. They fear the tools of democracy used wisely and daily by an informed and involved population who refuse to simply swallow the diet of fake news fed to them by the mainstream media. They fear elections and prefer to weaponize the media and legal system. They fear you. This is Church and State with Dave Pellowe.